If I mention the name Sigma Ceramics to a Star Wars collector, I think a lot of people are going to think of this piece. This is the C-3PO Scotch tape dispenser, one of the most famous pieces that they made. This is from the 80s. And you can see C-3PO here is just kind of lying back. He's got a roll of tape between his legs. Maybe like it's the wheel of a recumbent bicycle or something like that, where you kind of lie down and drive. I don't know. The concept for this is just very bizarre to me. Depending on how you look at it, it's almost as though C-3PO is giving birth to your tape, which, maybe not what they were going for. Famously, Anthony Daniels, who played C-3PO in the movies, has mentioned that this is his kind of most infamous or most memorable piece of C-3PO merchandise. But, it's cool. It's made out of glossy ceramic. You've got a little sticker here on the back. It says Sigma the Taste Setter, which is their name that they had for themselves. And it says that there may be some variants because this is all done by hand and made in Japan. So, yeah, pretty cool piece. I have a number of things like this. We have, for example, the snow speeder. This is actually a toothbrush holder. You're supposed to put toothbrushes down in here and have it look like the guns of the snow speeder. Unfortunately, I found that modern toothbrushes are actually pretty much always too big to fit in here, and they also have like rubberized handles and things. They just don't fit in here very well. So I've never actually been able to use this for its intended purpose, but it's still a pretty cool piece. And in addition to the ones that I have in my own collection, there's been things like a Tauntaun teapot, which I just love the idea of. We have Luke here sitting on top of the Tauntaun, and it's a legit, like, usable teapot. Which brings up a interesting point about this. A lot of these things are kind of for kids, but not all of them. I think a lot of these things that Sigma created, these ceramic products, could definitely be enjoyed by adults, and in fact may have actually been targeted more toward adults, like that teapot, or some of these ceramic figures that I'm going to show you in just a minute. So this is the first piece I wanted to show you. I've kind of been using this as the centerpiece for my Sigma ceramic display. It is the Jabba the Hutt piggy bank, and it's a nice size. I really like this piece. I like the way they've sculpted him. He looks friendly, and they've got pretty nice paintwork on it. I mean, it's a little bit sloppy, as these pieces tend to be. Of course, they're hand done, so you're going to find some variation from piece to piece. But yeah, I really like this. I think it's pretty charming. And he's got a slot in his mouth here, of course, where you can put the coins, and then a rubber stopper in the bottom if you want to get those coins back again. I imagine you could fit quite a bit of money in here, actually. Here you can look at the bottom. It says Jabba the Hutt, Return of the Jedi, 1983. So anyway, as I said, I have quite a number of ceramic figures that are, everything I've shown you up until this point in the video has been kind of something that has another use to it, whether it's a tape dispenser or a toothbrush holder or a piggy bank or whatever. But they also made some purely decorative pieces that I'm going to show you now. We'll go ahead and start with, I guess, this guy right here. This is, of course, the Gamorrean Guard. And these are, I would say, about 5 to 6 inches tall, maybe not quite 6. And unlike the other pieces I've shown you, they don't have this shiny glaze on them. They're more of a matte finish, but otherwise similar style. A little bit of a strange choice, honestly. Who is going to be collecting this kind of thing? Is it actually going to be kids? Is it going to be parents maybe buying them for kids? Or is it going to be someone buying it for themselves, like an adult collector? I'm not entirely sure what they were thinking, or who actually was the primary market for these. I feel like most people, most kids, would have rather had an action figure of some kind rather than a ceramic figure that you can't really play with, because these are, of course, rather fragile. Let's see, we'll just go down the whole line here. I've got Boba Fett. Interestingly, this one is by far and away the most valuable of these figures that I have. Like, I don't know, something like 10 times as valuable as maybe the Gamorrean Guard, just because he's Boba Fett. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if there's any other reason if they made him in lower numbers or anything, but I think it's just he's popular as a character. They also made a Bib Fortuna, which is very interesting because you can see these are kind of almost like children in the way they've been sculpted. Very sort of innocent looking, not at all threatening as you might expect for this character. But yeah, interesting that they they made one of these. I guess, I'm guessing anyway that they might have thought that people would display them in the way that I mentioned, where you have this piggy bank in the center and then you have other ones next to it, because they didn't make a Jabba figure. They only had this piggy bank. They also, for a slightly more obscure choice, had Klaatu. I assume the reason they went with this is because it was one of the vintage Kenner figures. It's a bit of a weird choice. Well, also, I think a lot of the licensees at the time were given kind of the same package of reference photos and things, so they kind of, they didn't know who was important in the film, really. They just were given photos and information about characters, and they decided to make various things based on that. We have another Jabba's Palace related one here, is Leia as the bounty hunter. Again, looking kind of childlike, like a little girl almost. Very interesting style. And the most interesting one to me in that sense, anyway, is, I think, Luke, because he totally just straight up looks like a little boy dressed up as Luke, as opposed to an adult Luke. But that's kind of the charm for me, I think. Even his lightsaber is kind of stubby, isn't it? Look at that. Finally, well, not quite finally, but almost finally, we have C-3PO and R2-D2, who are not, I don't know, these seem like a little bit of a different style than some of the other ones, but I guess they are still some of the same line. They're part of the same line. They have the same style base and everything, so I do keep them in the display. Finally, I'm going to have to clear these guys out of the way in just a second, but I have one very special item that I want to show you at the end. Finally, we have my favorite piece, which is the Sice Noodles and the Rebo Band music box. This is a relatively rare one, kind of on the expensive side as Sigma ceramic pieces go. You can see we have Sice Noodles, Droopy McCool, and Max Rebo there in the back. We can turn it around so you can get a better look at it. You can see it's already starting to kind of go off as I touch the little winding mechanism in the bottom here. Now, when I first got this piece, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago, something like that, I was initially a little disappointed that it didn't play Lopty Neck, which is, what we kind of associate with the Max Rebo band. And it seemed like, at first listen, that they had just kind of put some generic classical music thing in there. But in reality, this is actually playing something from Star Wars, from John Williams. This is Jabba's Baroque Recital, I believe is the title. I'm going to play it for you on the music box first, and then I'm going to try and play just a little snippet of it from the movie and hope I don't get content matched or anything. But yeah, it's an interesting choice. I'm going to have to wind this up all the way, because if it gets unwound very much, it kind of slows down too much and the tempo isn't right. Okay, starts right here. That about does it for the Sigma ceramics I have in my collection. They did, of course, make a number of other characters in this style, this ceramic figure style, and some of them, I suppose, could potentially fit in a Jabba's Palace display. They also made a Chewbacca bank that I think might work, for example. But anyway, these are the ones that are overtly Jabba related, and those are the ones that I picked up over the years. I'm interested to know what you think about these. Did you have them as a kid, or have you seen them since then? Did you perhaps collect them as an adult in the 80s? Let me know in the comments. And thanks very much for watching. This video was brought to you with the help of my patrons from Patreon, including these Palace VIPs, Angelica Brady, and Jesper Murtu. I really appreciate all of your support. If you'd like to help support the channel for as little as $1 a month, you can go to my Patreon page in the video description and get some more information.